Long before Europe built banks, long before the Knights Templar figured out how to move credit across continents without moving coins, China had already crossed a line no one else had even approached. They created money you couldn't hold in your hand, value printed on paper, backed not by metal but by trust. And with it, they built the first large-scale fiat economy in human history, hundreds of years before the West even had the language to describe such a thing. Welcome to Economist Historian, where money, power, and history collide, and where nothing is ever as simple as the story we like to tell. Western history tends to comfort itself with a familiar narrative. Rome gave us banks. Medieval Italy gave us accounting. The Dutch gave us capitalism. None of that is wrong, but it's incomplete, because long before Europe had a banking class, before it had central treasuries or financial institutions worth the name, China ran headfirst into a problem so large it forced them to rethink what money even was. And this didn't begin in the late Middle Ages. It began much earlier. The roots go back to the Tang dynasty, around the 7th century. By the time of the Song dynasty, 300 years later, the transformation was impossible to ignore. China wasn't just another empire. It was the largest, most complex market on Earth. Cities with populations over 1 million, trade networks humming day and night, an administrative system so vast that medieval Europe, by comparison, looks less like a continent and more like a loose collection of villages. But inside this success was a flaw, a quiet one, and it would change the history of money. The entire system rested on copper coins. Each coin weighed only a few grams, but trade volumes were enormous. To pay for a serious shipment, a merchant might need tens of thousands of coins, strung together on ropes, hauled over mountains, floated down rivers, guarded from bandits, counted again and again. If you want a picture of China before paper money, imagine caravans dragging sacks of copper, clanging, heavy, loud enough to announce their presence long before they arrived. As long as copper was plentiful, this worked. Then it wasn't. By the late Tang and early Song periods, the balance broke. The population grew, trade exploded. Cities expanded faster than the metal supply ever could. The state minted furiously. It wasn't enough. Copper prices rose, shortages spread, and merchants, who are, in every civilization, the first to adapt, did what they always do under pressure. They improvised. In Sichuan, a region with a long reputation for commercial creativity, merchants began leaving their heavy coins with trusted local shops. In return, they received a piece of paper, a jiaozi. It recorded how much copper had been deposited. It carried seals, signatures, sometimes decorative marks to deter forgery. It was light, portable, tradable, and if needed, it could be redeemed for real coins. These weren't philosophical experiments. They weren't symbolic gestures. They were tools, and they worked. Europe had letters for pilgrims and travelers, yes, but those didn't circulate in markets. They weren't money. Jiaozi were. At first, this was local. Then it spread. Other regions copied the idea, and in one of history's quieter ironies, merchants managed to build a more efficient monetary system than the empire that governed them. Eventually, the Song state had to respond. The choice was obvious and familiar to anyone who's ever watched regulators face innovation. Shut it down, or take it over. They took it over. Around 1023, the Song government nationalized the system. Private note issuance was banned. State printing offices were established. For the first time in history, a government issued paper money by law. What had started as convenience became authority. Denominations were standardized. Expiration dates were added, often 3 years, to force circulation. Notes were restricted to specific regions to control capital movement, and at first they were redeemable for metal. For a moment, China had something close to a perfect balance: paper currency, partial backing, state control, an economy large enough to need it. All of this happened centuries before Europe's first banknotes, before the Bank of England, before the Templars' credit networks reached their height. But innovation carries temptation. Paper money sped everything up. Taxes became easier to collect, armies easier to fund, and because paper was cheap, restraint became optional. More notes were issued, then more again. Reserves thinned, promises weakened. Inflation didn't arrive all at once. It crept, then it ran. By the late 11th century, paper money no longer matched its supposed backing. China had entered unfamiliar territory, the first fiat inflation crisis in human history. The Song state tried to recover control. Printing limits were adjusted. Exchange,